Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. We're back here at D2D Con 6. Doing some interviews on the floor, and today's going to be fun. I'm super excited about this conversation. I have got my man, Cody Mack, here today. Cody, thanks for being here.
Of course, man.
Dude, we haven't seen each other in a fucking hot second. And we literally just run into each other on the floor yesterday, right? You're standing at the booth next to my booth, and didn't even notice my giant fucking portrait, right, up on the wall. And we literally run into each other and start talking, and I just have like all these memories flash back from the time that we spent together on fucking boats, and then I forgot about the time that like then we were doing like pod stuff and had to get on calls afterwards, and you were going through this fucking life transformation shit, and like from the guy, the Cody that I met on the boat to the Cody that is today is like amazingly fucking different.
It's been a journey, man.
Right?
Yeah,
and so I'm really excited to talk about that. I think that people can relate, you know, to being somebody at one time in their life and identifying as that person, right? And then making these changes throughout your life to where it's hard to even imagine identifying yourself as that, right?
Yeah.
So before we get into all of that, I think the funniest part of this story is that I have been giving this speech for how fucking long that involved you, but you had no idea that it did. Yeah. And I never said your name in it at all, right? Like I was never going to call you out like to a group of people that don't know who you are. But yesterday it was so much fun because you got to come to the presentation and I got to call you out in the room, which was just hilarious to me. Do you remember that time?
I do.
Okay.
So kind of set
recap.
The stage.
Yeah.
At the end of the retreat, where am I looking at?
No, you look at me,
okay.
But just,
So at the end of the retreat, it was like this is my first experience like of this sort. So at the end of the retreat, Sam's like, all right, we're gonna do a feedback loop. And I'm like, I've never done that with like friends, family.
Neither had I.
Like this has never happened in my life.
Right.
So he's like, all right, so you're gonna get a group. And it was like me, you, Jake, and like maybe 2 other people.
Yep.
Anyway, very intimate group. You stand in the front, open arms, and you just have to like ask for feedback. And I'm like, I don't do this. Like, I don't critique people to their face. Like, not trying to say like I do them behind their back, but like, if someone like doesn't do something I like, I don't like. Yeah. So it's weird. Anyway, so especially at meetings over 3 days, I'm like, what is this?
What is this?
So anyway, so I remember you doing that, and I was like, I don't have any feedback. Besides, I was like, I guess he's a little harsh when he like speaks, like, because I've never met you before.
Right.
And everyone else is like trying to keep this business facade going.
Right.
And you're like, no, fuck that. I was like, wait, whoa. Are we allowed to say fuck on this boat? Like, I thought we were like in trouble for that. So I was
really?
like, yeah, dude, I didn't know. And they were all, it was like very business casual. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to keep this facade, and you were just like raw with it.
Yeah.
And like, what advice do you give Eric? I'm like, dude, Eric dunks on me in every aspect of life. What advice am I going to give him? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? And I was like, I guess like, don't be as abrasive, because I knew, dude, I saw some of the guys cringe when you would drop F-bombs, right? And I was like, I guess that's the thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so I tried to deliver that, but at the same time, like, it's funny because I didn't even know it affected you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to give honest feedback. Like, if this was the thing, I'm going to try my best to just be authentic and tell you.
Right.
But like, this could be a complete swing and a miss.
Right.
So anyway, I remember doing it, didn't think it affected you,
right.
And then hearing the story after, and how that was like the catapult to you being like, Sam, I don't want to be here, like, like I screwed these people, to being like, oh, no, this is my catapult to, this is exactly who I am, and I love this, and I just feel like that's...
Isn't it crazy,
cool.
though?
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize how any type of little moments...
It's anything.
...can have an impact on anyone. And I did, like, for months after that, I was like, fuck that guy. I hope he gets hit by a fucking car. You know, like, I really did.
Deep in the field,
I did, and then I think that Sam was intentional about then putting us in that same group together and making us fucking communicate with each other.
It's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because then we had this like separate pod where you had to get on like individual calls with each other, right? And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of when that started happening, it was a little bit later, right?
Yeah.
But when that started happening, all of a sudden you started going through a real change in your life, correct?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we kind of started having a different connection in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? You know, tell people a little bit about that. Okay.
So we were separated for the 3 months, and after Lake Powell, I was going back to decide if we were going to be together. Like that was like the combo that ended Lake Powell.
Right.
So that was like it was a really weird spot to be in. And so from Lake Powell, getting back and being like, okay, we're done. I was like, oh, cool. Like ground zero. Like where am I going? Like, what am I doing? Who am I? Like like a very like soul searching moment. Like okay, who is Cody? Where
because
am I going?
Who was Cody before?
I think Cody was a very like by the book, rule following, like very, very strict, like
real
straight
buttoned
edge.
up.
Yeah, real buttoned up, like very like follow the rules, like don't cause problems, like very like
very. Did you have religious upbringing?
Yes, very religious.
Okay, got it.
And so anyway, just very like very tight. And then I get to that point, I was like, okay, I get to find myself out, and just like okay, I don't have to listen to what anyone thinks anymore. I get to decide for myself what I like to do.
Yeah,
like what I like to.
That's a freeing moment.
I know. And I like had to examine every one of my beliefs that I had programmed in my head. Like, do I like this, or am I told this is what I like?
Right.
It was just like a very like, okay, what's going on? And then it was just a slow build, man. Like over the next few months, it's like, oh, cool. I like this. I like this. I like this.
Right.
And just building a life, and now my life is insane, incredible. And the crazy part is it's directly tracked to success. Like I was like successful before, like but not like. Compared to now,
but like, happiness leads to success.
My gosh,
Success doesn't lead to happiness.
Exactly, literally to the T.
Yeah,
to the T.
That's hilarious because I just and then I remember going from that moment to you. Let's just call it transitioning, for lack of a better fucking example. But like all of a sudden, I see Cody with fucking glow sticks, fucking running around town at raves, and I'm like, what the fuck happened, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that you were able to find you.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of people listening and have went through the same shit, whether it's a separation, a divorce, a breakup, someone dying, right? Like that completely changes what your identity was. Your identity was buttoned up Cody. I do this every day. I've got my wife at home. I've got right? And that's what you identify with, and you're like, this is my life, right? But then sometimes you wake up one day and you're like, wait, I don't really think this is what I fucking signed up for. I think I was told this is what I was supposed to sign up for.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's so many people that are afraid of finding their own path. And I'm not saying that everybody's path is mine or Cody's or whatever, but everybody has their own path, but you get so stuck in, well, this is what my dad did, this is what my parents did, this is whatever, right? And to your point, figuring out, do I believe this or was I programmed to believe this?
Scary.
Right?
It's scary to feel like maybe some of your ideas aren't really ideas, you know?
And they're not really your own.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
I think the crazy part too for me was like the whole idea like being raised super religious and being like, oh, you're a good person, right, in the beginning.
Right.
But then like everything like
and you're a good person if you do this.
Yeah. So then conditionally, right, as soon as I was like figuring out my own stuff, I kept feeling like, okay, so like if I self-discover enough, could I be a bad person?
Right.
And if I was a bad person, what does that even mean? Like, what life do you live if you're just a bad person? So I feel like I had such a moral like conundrum of like, okay, well, I'm just gonna feel this out and find out what does that even mean and who am I and what's like. So just a lot of self-discovery, trying to figure out.
So what happened with your family when you did that?
Honestly, it's kind of wild. My parents are very like hippie background, so they're very hands off. Like a lot of people are religious, but their parents like choking them with religion.
Yes.
My parents did not care at all, but they like put me in it, and I was such a rule follower that like. It's just crazy, like to think about. Like I have so many friends that are religious with very tight-knit parents, and they went off the walls growing up.
Right.
And I like couldn't, like I had like golden boy syndrome. Like I couldn't do anything wrong just because I was like, oh, I don't do wrong things. Like I'm like the perfect child.
Right.
And so, I feel like the biggest hardship for them was for them to be like, oh, like wait, like you don't go to church anymore, you don't do this anymore, you don't do the things like. And they weren't like, they were a little disappointed, but they're like accepting because they're very open, loving people. But it was a weird thing for them to see.
Yeah.
very weird.
Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. It's like, okay, wait, so do we not know who he is? Like, right? Like,
yeah.
Wait.
But the conversation is, Mom and Dad, I don't even know who the fuck I am.
Exactly. I was like, hey guys, but I still love you, and we're gonna figure this thing out. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing things I like.
So nobody pushed each other away.
No.
Relationship.
Very, very lucky.
That is very lucky, right? Because there's a lot of people listening that had the exact opposite reaction when they tried to do that.
Like, and definitely there was a little bit of like, I don't know, rejection from the family. Like, I remember when like I told my dad like, hey, like I'm getting divorced. He was like, oh well, it's like she can stay and you can get the fuck out. Like, you're right, like stuff like that. Like, just kind of like,
really,
like, yeah, well, because dude, we're there like almost 7 years, right?
Right.
And so like there was like a lot of like things, and we didn't really talk that much, and they didn't really know me that well. I didn't know myself that well, like,
right.
And so they were just like a lot of like subtle like, well, like, what the fuck what are you doing? What do you do with your life? And so anyway, moral story. Then we broke into like, now that I know myself, now they know that I'm happier. They see what's going on,
right?
And it's much more radical acceptance. They never like pushed me away, but I could tell they were a little like, okay, Cody, like
she can stay, you can go.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck this up. Like, yeah, they literally were looking at me like, yeah, Cody, like, oh, okay. Like, obviously, yeah, they were just like very like, I don't know.
And you guys didn't have kids or anything,
no,
though,
no
right?
Kids, nothing.
Interesting. And like when you split, you split.
Yeah.
Like, there's no communication.
No communication.
Okay, so it wasn't like a great thing for her.
No, well, so it was very
in the
amenable.
moment.
Yeah, one of it was very, very agreeable in the moment, and then when it came to like the paperwork and the money, that's when it got real messy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Never
Because I know people. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I know people can relate to that. Like, because that's a really hard. That's a hard thing to go through, even if it's mutual, right?
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot of emotion and a lot of feeling, because you do have this past, right? As much as you may love, hate, whatever it is, each other, you still. But then it sucks, because then it gets down to paperwork and money.
Yeah, literally, we were like perfect, almost on the finish line.
Yeah.
And then some lawyer was like, "Oh, by the way, you know you can get this, 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 and this." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Bro, like we divided out all the assets like pretty like fairly. It was all like done.
Yeah.
And we just go into a lawyer to get it done, and one lawyer was like, "Oh, by the way, you know you can get this, 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 this." And I was like, "Oh no,
son of a bitch."
Yeah. And it got just real nasty. And I don't blame her. Like, if someone told you like, "Oh, you could get a shitload more like this or a shitload like
right."
Like, and especially after going through something hard, it's like emotional. And like I get it, but it just became real rocky real quick.
That's crazy. So tell me what you're doing now. So tell me what you're doing now and how Cody's living now.
Yeah. So work.
Yeah, sure.
So work. So right now I do solar.
Okay.
So that's like my main thing still.
Okay. For yourself, somebody else, you're building teams.
I'm a partner. Yeah. So partner in the company. So there's 3 owners in the company, which is sweet. And I act as the president of sales, so I just focus on all the sales. We have a CEO, and then we have an investment partner, which is amazing. He helps guys get into franchises and get them off the doors as fast as possible.
Okay. Based out of here, or
yeah, Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then I have the gaming company, and that's like
I forgot about that. Yeah. Because that's kind of your passion.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
Tell me about the gaming company. Tell everybody about the gaming company a little bit, because I'm super interested.
Yeah. So we're almost. She's almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the goal was, okay, how can I take gaming, which is an amazing niche. It's kind of where sports were 20, 30 years ago, where maybe more than that, but when they were like, hey, like the kids like playing, but right now they're like, go get a paper out. Why are you playing with a ball on the field? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
To where sports are now, where it's like, oh, if your kid is really good at football, they're the best, and they go to college. Maybe not to play professionally, but they at least get college for free.
Yeah.
They at least get leadership, community, discipline.
Yep.
So gaming is like kind of in that niche right now, and I kind of saw that and was like, okay, there's so many kids that are gamers that literally get into high school and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to go to college. Like, why would I spend that money? I don't know what I want to do. And they just game and they get a job and they just kind of figure some things out. But I felt like there was such a crux there.
Yeah.
And so there was like, okay, how do we help that kid get involved in an experience that they love in high school, get developed and get to college, and obviously not to be a professional gamer per se, I mean, that happens, but more so to get to college to discover themselves so that they actually can have a better life.
Okay.
And for me as a big gamer, I use gaming to like quantify sales to get it selling, and I got lucky, I feel like if I didn't find that niche, I would have been in the same route where I was like, oh, I like gaming, I don't know if I want to go to trade school, like, I just don't know where I want to go, because there wasn't direction. Where in college, it's like,
so are you saying that there's like a way to monetize it for them?
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The same way sports are.
Okay.
So if you're good enough at the game, we get them on streams, and they can literally play competitively. People sponsor their jerseys the same way. They sponsor the games, the matches, the leagues. It's like that same platform.
And the idea isn't to
exist.
get them to not go to school or to not do something. It's to get them to go do that and enhance it.
Correct. So the first couple of years, I was pitching this to principals, and they were like, no. Like, you want my kids to play more games? Like, no. But I was like, okay. So how I broke into the space was like, all right, principal, let's run this league for you. I will get your kids organized and competing against another school. And if their grades go down 1 point, we'll can the whole thing, and I'll pay for every dime of it.
Wow, bold.
Yeah, I was like, I'll prove this to you. I'll prove this to you that this works. And so we literally went to this school, we took the kids together, and we filmed a documentary of this one kid in particular who had kids' grades average go up by 1.5, like 1.5 points.
Really? What would you attribute that to?
That if they didn't have good grades, they were off the team.
Oh,
if they were
okay.
if they were caught gaming at school when they were supposed to be in class, they were kicked off the team. So all of a sudden the kid's like has motivation to do his work.
Got it.
To be focused at school.
Yeah.
Or he was out.
So that he could be on the team. Yeah, love that shit.
And then all of a sudden the school started putting assemblies, and the kids would play in front of the kids in the school, and some of the nerd kids were literally like showcased, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Now all of a sudden the nerds
now
cool.
They got jerseys, and now they got sponsors, and now like stuff's going well. And we had a kid that literally, like, the reason why the documentary we had is like so powerful is the kid literally went from like a 1.6 GPA to like a 3.8, like a scholarship to college, and his parents were like, dude, we couldn't even get him to go to school. Like, he was like, he was about to drop out. He was not engaged at all. And all the kids on the gaming team now, he like hangs out with all the time, and like he's found his thing. He found his group.
He found his tribe.
He found a place he could be authentic and be himself, not be rejected, and he wasn't just in his house anymore. He was out playing with friends.
That's great.
At a location.
I don't think I totally understood exactly what that was. I know you told me at one time, but I don't think I grasped it.
Well, honestly, it's such a new thing, and it's hard to like explain to people like really clearly, because a lot of people have so many misconceptions about what gaming is and what it even looks like.
And it's not a non-profit. Like you profit from this as well, right?
So it started as just a for-profit thing.
Okay.
And we were just going to run it like in conjunction with like sports. So we were going to be like a Premier League.
Okay.
But this year is why it's so powerful. We are opening the first esports arena in a high school. So the entire wing of a high school is an esports arena.
Where's that at?
Bluffdale, here.
I'll be go to hell.
Yeah, so it's going to be incredible. So, and that is going to be fully through a nonprofit. It's going to be structured just like the NBA, where like the NBA itself is the nonprofit, but there's like each team is like a for-profit. Yeah, and it cradles it up, but it's incredible. So we can have people donate to these kids. We can build these facilities. We can help them build out structure and centers. Like building these centers are going to be like building football arenas, right?
Yeah.
Building these out throughout the state, throughout the country, throughout the world. Like literally building the structure from ground up. But the cool part is we're building it better, because it is much more regulated. There's much more dopamine involved. So like there's much more regulation I think we need to stick within.
Yeah.
But also we're seeing much greater results.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me the name of all of that.
Lan King.
Say it.
Lan King. So
Land King?
No, LAN, like local area network.
Oh, fucking nerd speak. I don't fucking know what that is. Okay, all right.
So yeah, LAN local area network is when you used to like hard plug your stuff in together.
Okay.
And so the whole consensus was we don't do online gaming. Like you obviously we support gaming any facet, but we want people to be plugged in together next to each other. Like when we set up the arena.
Really?
They're literally next to each other competing.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Like you're in the same space.
That's why you have an arena.
Spending time with humans.
Yes.
Not pretend
shaking
fucking
hands
people
with your opponent
when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love this.
So we coach the kids. We like literally set up mentors for them.
How do kids get involved in this?
Well, as of right now, the schools we piloted, now they're good to go. They basically when they have club days come out.
Okay.
They get to say I want to be a part of this club.
Yeah.
Next year we're hoping to actually get actual like finalized like athletic improvement, so it's like a part of the athletics. But right now it's just a club.
And right now it's all kind of based in Utah, though.
Yeah. I mean it happens around, but we're like the ones pushing in Utah.
Got it.
There's definitely a lot of great people like supporting it. It's not like we're the only ones. But
Yeah,
we're making leaps and bounds. But if we can make this successful and roll this high school program out, then it's just we go to school districts and say, hey, we can guarantee your kids are going to perform better. They're going to be happier. They're going to feel more included. They're going to go to college. We're going to put more sponsorship dollars into your school, and we can show them all the benefits. Like,
I fucking love this. Like, because I never had to think about this because I was the football, baseball jock fucking guy, right? But like, you don't think about what are the other kids doing that don't live in that world, right? Like, what are we doing for the kids that we just all assume are in fucking chess club?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know that that's super stereotypical, shitty, whatever, but like, what are we doing for those kids? Because there's so many more of them probably than there are the few that are playing ball. And you know what I mean? Like, we're just the ones that are highlighted because that's what's highlighted in the world, in the community.
I couldn't agree more.
I love that. Jesus. Okay. Cody, thank you. I want the world to know more about that. Please make sure that when we're done here, get Lexi the information for that so that we can drop it in the comments and spread the word about that, because I love that. I get really passionate about anybody that's doing something to help other people, and especially if it's kids that are struggling, you know what I mean, like with anything. And I know that like that is such a group of people that do struggle with identity and you know what I mean, in groups and finding friends and things like that. And like the thing that you're doing with that is so much more exciting than solar. I know. Right?
It fires me up though.
That's super exciting.
To go after it,
Yeah, like I love that shit. Please don't ever stop doing that.
I already commit. I'm committed. Even if I never made $1 doing it, I will do it until I die. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cody, thank you for being here. I'm so happy that we got to reconnect and that I can call you a friend now. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, brother. Remember, everybody, be authentic or get the fuck out.
Can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.